Alright, let's see how fast we can compile a list here. This one will be like more speed running. So we're gonna forget stuff. I probably would like it. If you think it's probably pretty decent, then I'd probably dig it. Alright, Final Fantasy VII. I guess we'll do the original strategy guide cover, baby. Kingdom Hearts. Just thinking of the stuff that Kingdom Hearts 1, not Kingdom Hearts 2 or any of the others. Let's see, Outer Wilds. Boom, Outer Wilds is going to be up here. Resident Evil 4. Original and remake are both going to be on this list. What are we thinking? What are we missing? Hades. Hades is probably number 2 of all time. We got Melee. I probably have to type Super Smash Brothers. There we go. Melee is going to be up here too. Let's type Tetris Party for the sake of it's probably the one I spent the most time playing. I might need to make this a little taller too. Height, because I might want to put some maybes. Tekken, yeah, Tekken 7. You're right. Tekken 7 will probably be on here. It's probably going to be low, but it's going to be on here. As Libra Revision has a good chance. Super Metroid and Super Mario World. Where's there we go. Final Fantasy VI has a non-zero chance. I would say it probably doesn't make it. Maybe if I played Final Fantasy VI when I was younger, it might make it. But that said, oh, Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber. That's going to be pretty high up there, probably above Kingdom Hearts even. These aren't in order yet, though, except for Chrono Trigger and Hades, probably. Let's see, maybe Nuclear Throne, Dead Cells 2. I think those would be the roguelikes that have a chance after Hades. Pokemon Red and Blue, maybe Pokemon Fire Red. That's the only one, I think. If I type Fire Red, maybe it's because Pokemon doesn't have the accent mark. Why is this being a bitch? We're going to pretend this is Fire Red. One thing that I do put into consideration with these is like not how much I liked it when I played it, but if I would still like it when I play it right now. Because I would not want to play the original Pokemon Red ever again. I like the things that they added in Gen 3. Being able to do the box system and everything so much quicker. So even though Pokemon Red, when I was in elementary school, was like, you know, something I was super obsessed with, I don't ever want to fucking play that game again, man. Pokemon Fire Red, I can play Pokemon Fire Red again. I've played ROM hacks for it, and they've all been pretty fun. And Heart Gold, I guess, also has a shot too. I did enjoy replaying Pokemon Heart Gold. I also have a document for this too. I kind of don't want to cheat though. I kind of want to think of which ones I can find out which ones I can think of. Bastion's a maybe. Below Tekken 7 probably. I think that's accurate. None of the Castlevania games. Looking at my... Ooh, Undertale. I don't think Undertale is one that I even considered before. That's a kind of around Bastion. Let's do Special Edition. That's the one I had. It's a maybe. That might not actually make it, but Dynasty Warriors 8 Complete is also... If I type complete, does it show the Lubu version? Yeah. I've spent so much time playing Dynasty Warriors 8 and Extreme Legends, and Complete just puts them into one package, and it is so fucking fun. It has like my favorite waifus in that game. I don't know if it's going to make it on the list, but man, I like playing Dynasty Warriors 8, man. Oh, I was talking about it a lot earlier. Mass Effect 2. That's going to be pretty high up there. Get in there. Mass Effect 2. Dragon Age Origins also, maybe? I don't know. I feel like maybe Dragon Age Origins may be a little dated for me now, but I really did like that game. I remember like that game coming out. It was so new to us to play a game like Dragon Age Origins. I remember like talking about like because the characters in that game have so much life in them. It's one of those first ones where like how you talk to the characters really feel like you're talking with a unique individual. And I remember being at the Galleria Mall talking with you about that game, Casey. I think you were coming back. You were back from college or something. And we talked in large detail on how much we like Dragon Age Origins and just like the stuff in it. I don't know if it still makes the list though. At the time though, it probably would be in my top 10. What else we got here? Sekiro, the FromSoft game that's good. Yes, baby. Sekiro's gonna be on here. I'm so torn with. You know, I think Final Fantasy VII Remake's shitty fucking ending made it a lot easier for me to leave it off my list. If that ending was cool, or if it was just Final Fantasy VII's ending, like of that sequence, we'd have problems because I'd have to put it on this list. But the last like 3 hours of that game, and you know, little interspersed parts throughout. It wasn't just the ending, but there's little interspersed parts throughout that. Where I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You had a good thing going. Just let me do what I did, only cool and modern graphics. But there's the Dementors. Yeah, Skyrim and Fallout 3. Neither of them really make it, but, you know, very fond memories of both. My dog mauling my best friend to Fallout 3's intro, so I'm so traumatized that I can't play that game anymore. I hope you're happy. You got bit so bad that I can't play something. To the Moon is a maybe. Do I have to put it? Oh no, here it is. To the Moon's a maybe. I mean, I love the story of To the Moon, and is one that I love having people play so that they can be sad because I get off on that shit. It's also, like, there's not a lot of game there. There's a little bit of puzzling, but it's mostly walking around and being sad. It's just, the story is so great. It's like recommending someone a movie to me. Fire Emblem Awakening is a maybe. It's the, this is where I differ from 941, where he hates when Fire Emblem started doing the Fire Emblem Awakening shit. And Fire Emblem Awakening is where I started liking Fire Emblem. Fury is a maybe as well. Fury. Yeah, you know what? I hate Fates too. And it's weird because Fates is like... It's like they tried to do the Awakening stuff, only do it in a different way. And all of the ways they made it different were worse. I don't know how. They even made like a bunch of hot waifu sisters. And it was still like hard to enjoy that game. I didn't even finish it. I got to a mission where I was just getting so fucking frustrated that I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't need to go further in this game. Awakening I really, really love, though. Goof Troop SNES. Let's take out SNES. Is it going to find Goof Troop? Yeah, it is. Best co-op game ever created. Eat Your Heart Out, Baldur's Gate, Goof Troop Super Nintendo. That game is so fucking fun. I love Goof Troop Super Nintendo so much. If you're romantically involved with someone but you haven't played Goof Troop with them, you haven't really locked it down. So Casey, I don't know if you still plan on, like, you know, locking that down with Ashley, but unless you play Goof Troop with her, it's not real. Just so you know. That's the quantifier, is you have to play Goof Troop. I can imagine you and Ashley yelling at each other over those the fucking block puzzles. Especially the ones where you can't mess up or the block breaks. Ooh, Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight's in the running too. We have a lot of games to look at for a top 23, Jesus. Do I put Hollow Knight over Undertale? That's kind of, I'm trying to think about that, like as far as indie games go. There's one that like I have pretty high up on my ratings. It's weird because it doesn't exist in here. It's not going to show up. It's called Idlecraft. It was a RPG Maker XP game. It's this weird little independently, obviously developed by one dude, RPG Maker XP game. And it's funny, you can't find them anymore because they finally took those forums down. When he was making that game, I had so much conversation with him to help him debug and improve the game and stuff. And he patched like new features into the game because he saw how much I liked playing it, that he added more shit for me to enjoy. I'm like, that's so sick. I think he still even makes games now. But yeah, there's this weird RPG Maker game called Idlecraft, and I got to replay it on my laptop a few times through. And all you do, it's basically Pokemon, but you get J-pop idols and increase their stats to have a good concert at the end of the thing. It's like a 4-hour game every time you play through it, but I have such a good time every time. It really does have a genuine shot at like top 23 of all time for me. I think it would be just outside of it, but man, I really like that game. Let's see. Oh, League of Legends, baby. Oh, yes, League of Legends. The game that's good enough that makes you deal with the absolute dredges of humanity just to play more of it. Yeah, we're leaving out League of Legends. Messenger's really good. I've now replayed it twice. I don't think it makes it. I think it's a little too fresh in my mind, but Messenger's good, man. Octopath Traveler 2 is a maybe as well. I'm so glad I went back and beat it. I put the game down because a bunch of other stuff came out, played Ass Libra Revision and stuff. But when I went back and played and beat Octopath Traveler 2, I managed to get back into it, and I really did enjoy it. Not very difficult of a game. I think the last boss is pretty hard, but also I was like super broken, and when you fight the last boss, you can use all your items and stuff, so it doesn't matter. Persona 5 Royal. You know what, I'll leave that for 941's list and all 300 hours that he streamed that game. Let's see. Fuck Shovel Knight. Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs is my favorite GTA-like game, but I don't think it makes the list, but it's worth a nod. Sleeping Dogs is tight. And it goes on sale for like $3 all the time. If I didn't already force one of my other friends to play Sleeping Dogs and stream it, I think that might be a game I'd consider making you check out, 941. Just when it's on sale for like a couple bucks. Let's see. Any of the Sonic Mania might be... Oh, my list doesn't have Sonic Mania on it. I really like Sonic Mania. I don't think it's going to make it. But that's probably my favorite Sonic game. Runner-up to Sonic 3 with the Knuckles. StarCraft Wings of Liberty. StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. Is that up there? As is Streets of Rage. I would actually say Streets of Rage 4. It's kind of crazy. I'm not really considering Streets of Rage 1 as much. I guess there's just not that many Genesis games that I'm that fond of. Because when we did the console draft for Sega Genesis, Streets of Rage 1 was my first choice. And I'm not even considering that for this list because Streets of Rage 4 is just so good. I'd rather play 4. Oh, Suikoden 2. Suikoden 2 is on here. Never mind. That's one that's just here. You're on the list. You're on the list, pal. I'm excited for... I'll stream it if I play Suikoden 1 and 2. I think I'll stream those because I replayed them recently, so I have no problem streaming them when I play them. Super Mario Bros. 1, which I played... I've beaten Super Mario Bros. 1 when I was younger, but I also beat it again last year for the first time in a while. As well as Super Mario Bros. 3. And I can just, playing it from beginning, I did some skips, but playing it from mostly beginning to end with Super Mario Bros. 1, I can confidently say that I just fucking hate Super Mario Bros. 1. Super Mario Bros. 3, I don't love the physics of that game, but it's real good. So yeah, I think Super Mario Bros. 3 is a cool game, but I'd just rather play Super Mario World. Let's see. Ooh, Tales of Symphonia is probably on here too. We might need to start knocking stuff off. Some of these honorable mentions might start being less honorable, less mentioned. Tekken 7's on here, so we're good. Yeah, Undertale. Oh, Uncharted 4 and Uncharted 2. I think Uncharted 4. I liked Uncharted 4 more. I don't know if it's better than Uncharted 2, but 4, I had so much fucking fun playing Uncharted 4, bro. That game, it just... I remember playing it just in my living room. I just moved out to my new apartment, and I was playing it in my living room. It was like the first game that I played in there, just by myself at night, and just like laughing from how much fun I was having playing that game. Like, you're going down the clock tower and shit's all falling apart and stuff, and Drake is like, this is some pretty crazy stuff. I'm like, fuck yeah, it's some pretty crazy stuff. This is awesome. Yeah, Uncharted, very cool. Ooh, Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos. I still like this game. It's just more or less impossible to play now because of Warcraft Reforged, I think. Alright, let's see. Let's look at what we have here. We can kill sleeping dogs. I think I like Reign of Chaos even more than StarCraft 2. It means more to me sentimentally, and I've played it so much. I don't think Goof Troop's going to make it. I love Goof Troop, but I don't think that's going to make it. I don't think Pokemon's going to make it. It's definitely not going to beat something like Tales of Symphonia or Suikoden 2. So Pokemon might not make it. Octopath might not make it. Uncharted probably I need to find a space for. Final Fantasy 6 doesn't make it. Devil May Cry 3, no. To the Moon, no. Let's see. I don't think The Messenger does. We'll think about it. Streets of Rage probably does, though. Sonic Mania, I think we kill off. Man. Why couldn't it be the year 2040? Then I could fit all these games on here. Let's see. What can I kick out from the top? I think I might move Undertale out. I think Undertale doesn't make it. Asleep Revision might get kicked too. I hate to do it because that game is really cool. Hey now. Got some Santana covers on here. Let's switch over twice. The Messenger won't. It's close, but I don't think it does. Fire Emblem will not. Fury will not. Wings of Liberty. Yeah, I'm going to kill Octopath 2 and Pokemon Fire Red. What spot? What can be kicked out? None of these. None of these. Not this, not this, not this. None of these. Dead Cells can be kicked, probably. I think Dead Cells gets kicked. Nuclear Throne might get kicked as well. Tekken's going to be lower on here, but it's going to be on here. Bastion might get kicked. I'd rather play Streets of Rage 4 than Bastion. Uncharted 4. I think Reign of Chaos. This might be the lineup. It might be... It's not in the right order, but I think this might be the lineup. Yeah, I think we killed Dead Cells and Bastion. Thank God that Hades came out. Like, Hades makes me not care that much about playing Bastion again because Hades has, like, so much replayability, and they play kind of similar. Hades is like Bastion on crack, and I love it. Yeah, I think Wings of Liberty just barely doesn't cut it. Hollow Knight's probably at the bottom here. Undertale's right about there. Yeah, I think Undertale makes a 25. I think these two make the 25, but not the 23. Suikoden 2 is on here, but is lower. It might be higher than Final Fantasy, though. Suikoden 2 might be above these. 7 and 10, which is kind of crazy to think about. It's just, it is really that good, though. Resident Evil 4 original, Resident Evil 4 remake, both of them. Bastards have to make such good fucking games that they both get a spot. Right now, I think I like remake more. They're both so good, though. They're both so good. I think I moved Melee. I don't know, man. Melee gives me an existential crisis, man. I gave like 15 years of my life to that game, man. The only reason 941 is in this chat is because I played Super Smash Bros. Melee. I don't know, man. I don't know where to put Melee. As far as importance in my life, it's number 1, right? It's not even close. As far as my favorite game, it's not even close to top 5, which is strange. So I don't know. It's hard to say with Melee, man. I wonder where you would put Melee, 941 or Casey or anyone else, like honestly anyone I know through Smash Brothers, or especially the people that really played it so much. I mean, 941, you played it enough to travel for it. I'm not sure how big of a part of your life Melee was, but you played it enough that it was like how you met a bunch of people and traveled for things. And then I think about like people like Bacon or JPEG. Like, I wonder where Melee ranks on their top games of all time. You still put it as a top 5? I only put it up here because of the competitive stuff. I love the game and I love the mechanics of the game, but the things I value in games, there's more things I put above it. That's a high praise, though. I wish, yeah, I am curious, especially like I really want to know your answer, but like I wonder what Bacon's answer is for that. Just honestly, anyone that I'm really close to, especially because of Melee, because we played it so much, so much. Yeah, if I'm rating it purely just as a game, it goes like towards like the 15th spot or something like that. If I'm rating it for my life, yeah, I think I'd leave it at 3. I think that's fair. Outer Wilds number 4. Maybe. It really might be. Yeah, I think Outer Wilds stays at number 4. That's such an important game to me. The first time I've ever considered getting a tattoo in any serious regard would be an Outer Wilds tattoo. Alright, let's see. What else do we have here? The Resident Evil 4 Twins. I think maybe I move the older one a little further down now. Ogre Battle, I might move above the Final Fantasy 7 and 10 combo. I don't know. And it's still hard for me to rank which I like more, 7 or 10. When I replay 10 this year, I will get back to you on which one I enjoy more. Where do I put Ogre Battle? I think it's right behind them, actually. Kingdom Hearts behind that. That seems about right. Mass Effect 2, I think I put over Kingdom Hearts. Tetris. This might be the right spot for Tetris. I think I can move Resident Evil Original here. Yeah. Resident Evil 4 Original above Ogre Battle, but behind Final Fantasy X. I don't know. The second tier is very interchangeable. The second line here. I really love Resident Evil 4 Remake was so good. They did such a fucking good job. It's crazy that they did such a good job on that. And it's like no one really even argues about it. All they do is insult Ada's voice actress. That's the only thing that anyone argues about with Resident Evil 4 Remake is like that they don't like how Ada's voice sounds. I'm not even that against it. I think it's not recorded super well, but I don't even think it's her fault. But yeah, it's funny because like Resident Evil 3 Remake was pretty divisive. There's good mechanics in that game, but a lot of people didn't enjoy it. Resident Evil 4 Remake, they put so much care into doing that right, and they hit it out of the park. Let's see. Tetris Party, this is kind of an all-inclusive, but Tetris Party is the one I've played the most. Puyo Puyo Tetris, played at a national level in Puyo Puyo Tetris on the Switch. That was pretty cool. But I also played Tetris and Dr. Mario on the Super Nintendo, which uses the same physics as NES Tetris. Like Blue Scooty, the legend, managed to pull off the kill screen on. I don't know if Super Nintendo has the same kill screen, but it does use pretty much the same physics as the NES version. Let's see. Tetris Party, and then, let's see, Super Metroid. What do we sneak up in here? I think Sekiro, Uncharted 4. Oh, Tales of Symphonia probably needs to be higher. Maybe above Kingdom Hearts. I love Tales of Symphonia, man. Replaying it, I was so happy replaying it too. I was a little worried that I wouldn't like it. There's a few parts where I don't love in the game, but for the most part, very much enjoyed replaying it a couple years ago. Not as much as I enjoyed Suikoden 2 again, though. Suikoden 2, holy shit, what a game. Alright, let's finish this off. Let's take a look here. See, Super Metroid, Sekiro, Uncharted 4, Mario World, above Reign of Chaos. Yeah, that seems right. I think I put Tekken above Reign of Chaos. I think Ass Libra Revision moves above SOR 4. And Nuclear Throne just squeaks in. Let's see, the other options are StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty and Undertale. Undertale might bump Nuclear Throne. It's weird. Undertale's another one that's weird because, like, again, I have no interest in replaying Undertale. But if I did, I would enjoy it. But I did all of the main things in that game, so there's not much else for me to care about. Nuclear Throne is a roguelike, so I could replay that right now and be pretty happy with myself. Also, I was pretty good at Nuclear Throne. As far as, like, leaderboards and shit like that go. I had like a lot of experience. Probably should skip that one. I think that one gets muted. Nuclear Throne or Undertale. I think that's really the only debate that's left. I'm gonna stick with my gut and keep Throne there. I played it so much. I played it, did the dailies and competed in that. Very passionate about that game. I played it in early access. And as much as I love Undertale, and it's a game where it's like, if I know someone will like it, I tell them to play it. And like, that's another thing where like, I can read Leo like a fucking book. I knew that would be his shit. Undertale's probably in his top 5 games ever or some fucking shit. So yeah, pretty easy to say, pretty easy to call that one out. Yeah, I think this is it. I think this is the chart. Let's look at the order here, though. So we're going to lock the top 3. I think we're going to lock the top 4. Hard to put Outer Wilds lower than it is. It's so influential. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Outer Wilds 4. Resident Evil 4 Remake was so good. But you can make me that into a horror game. Then it must be doing something right? Kind of the same thing with Outer Wilds. It's kind of like a puzzle story-driven game. But if they did everything in Outer Wilds as good as they did, it's hard to argue. Suikoden 2. That second row is so interchangeable. I think even down to Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 could be number 6 as well. There's definitely a cutoff between Suikoden 2, Mass Effect 2 that those could all be kind of jumbled, and it would be fine. As it is, I'm gonna go with my heart on Final Fantasy X as well. I'm gonna put 10 over 7. I really hope I still feel that way when I replay 10 on my Switch. One thing that I did notice that's pretty notable with Final Fantasy X is the remaster. They, of course, because it's Square Enix, they lost their source code because of the PlayStation 2 Square Enix game, so they fucking lost it, as they do. They lost a lot of their coding for the facial expressions for the cutscenes. So in original Final Fantasy X, for the PlayStation 2, The characters' faces look so much more expressive and so much more human. I saw like side by side comparisons. I'm like, wait, this is why it looked so much better. Like it actually did look better. During cutscenes, especially when Tidus would be emotional, he'd make like expressions that really like showed that emotion. And I kind of like, I was like, I remember Final Fantasy X having much more emotion to it, but in the HD remaster, of course they didn't redo the motion capture all over again. They're not going to do that. So you kind of have a lot more dead lip flaps and stuff of like a lot more flat versions of Tidus and Yuna just instead of like the feeling and the heart that was on their faces in the original. So I have to live with not having that. But it is cool to know that, okay, they actually did have a bunch of emotion on these characters' faces originally. And I am not just like making up this like feeling that I used to have for that game. So if I can get over that and just enjoy all the other things I really love about Final Fantasy X, I like the combat system. I like the sphere grid. I love the world of it, and the story is just... I think Final Fantasy is like... Maybe, I don't know, maybe not its best story, but it's the one that matters the most to me because it's a love story. And I think that that means all the difference to me with Final Fantasy X. Is like, it's got a love story with a dweeby but kind of relatable himbo protagonist, and just maybe one of the best girls in Final Fantasy. And it's just got such a great fucking story. And then 7 is just cool as fuck. If you played Final Fantasy 7, you know that game's cool as fuck, man. I talk about the contrast of Final Fantasy 9, where at the end of that game, Zane's like, no, I gotta go hang out with Kuja while he dies. He just kills a bunch of people. Whereas Cloud, Chad-ass Cloud, is like, I think Sephiroth's still down there. I'm gonna go fuck him up some more. And he jumps back in to do that. That's way fucking cool. 7 is cool as fuck, boy. Alright, after that, Resident Evil Original 4. Hard to say anything that I haven't said before. Just what a revolutionary game, too. So important in the sense of game development. So many games are designed using Resident Evil 4's idea. If you ever listen to the dev talk about how he made that game, he specifically was like, yeah, we want Resident Evil 4, we'll need monsters in space. He's like, Resident Evil 4 is so intrinsic to their drive for how they made Dead Space. Yeah, Resident Evil 4, so important to gaming and such a cool game. I'm glad 941 went and played it and then played Remake as well. I'm glad he got to finally experience that game. Ogre Battle 64, this is maybe one of the ones that's up there for me that isn't on the chart for almost anybody else. Very few people even played Ogre Battle 64. It's hard to get into if you didn't play it before because of the pacing of the gameplay. But I love it so much. It was the first game that introduced me to like branching choices. People you align with matter. If you choose this person as your friend, then someone else that hates that person will not join your army. I love the idea of consequence. In gaming, I think more games should be more open to like consequences. A lot of people were complaining in Baldur's Gate, like, oh, I can't get this companion because I don't want to do this bad thing, and I don't even know what companion that is. And I think they're a bunch of bitches. I think they should deal with the fact that, like, yeah, your choices matter, and you can't be friends with everyone. That's not how things work, and if you want to be excited about how immersive a game is, then you should probably deal with the things like realism. If you're not going to follow someone's goals, then why would they align themselves with you? And Ogre Battle 64 does a really good job with that. It's not super clear all the time, but once you understand the systems, it's just a cool game. The art style, I love the art style so much in that game. Between the kind of gothic style artwork for the character portraits and then the just the cute chibis for the little action stuff. Love that game. So good. Such a cool strategy game. I talked about Mass Effect 2 a lot earlier when I was talking about music. God, it's 120. Jesus Christ. Mass Effect 2, during the music stream, it's just the pacing in that game is so good. The music, the atmosphere of that game is really cool. You just have these sharp, fun missions constantly. Very rarely do you feel bored in that game because there's always a good mission to play. And there's not a lot of drag in that game. And it's another one where consequences really matter, and I love that about it. And the last mission's so fucking cool and so iconic. Tales of Symphonia, GameCube, classic. It's like I essentially played 2 games on my GameCube. I played Melee and I played Tales of Symphonia, and that's about it. Kind of like with the Wii, I played Brawl and I played Punch Out, Wii Punch Out, and then I played a bunch of Virtual Console games, and that's it. But yeah, Tales of Symphonia, another JRPG on the list. The only Tales of game that I've ever completed. I've started one of them, and then I have 2 others that I just haven't even started. But yeah, I loved Symphonia's cast of characters, despite there being really clear power imbalances. Like, Sheena sucks, but she's so cool that I had to put her in my party anyway. Rain is so strong and so useful that, like, you should always use Rain, but there's just, like, the whole cast of characters are great. There's such a big divide on people that fucking hate Zelos and fucking love Zelos, and I love Zelos so much. I love that character so much. And yeah, just cool game. Sheena's your favorite DJ and gambler? I forgot that's a characteristic of her. I don't even remember that about her. Or you're saying that because she throws cards around. I really don't remember if she was a gambler, but I'll trust you on it. That's something that you would know. Oh yeah, she has cards. She has cards. She's such a weak party member. I remember when I added her into my party, I'm like, fuck, she sucks, but it's like, that's okay. She's a super babe, so I'm going to keep rolling with Sheena. Then we have Kingdom Hearts 1. 2 just Cascade. It's a long game. It's funny. Tales of Symphonia is one of the first games I ever played where when I got to the ending, I was sad because it meant I was done playing it. I was like, no, I've only spent 100 hours playing. I want, you know, another 200. No big deal. Let me play some more. And I was just genuinely like, dang, it's over. I wanted more of this because I was having so much fun. Even though the graphics are especially dated now, at the time they looked pretty cool. They're just these little round boys on a world map fighting stuff. Pretty good. Kingdom Hearts 1. It's a very special game to me. I get emotional when I think about it, when I start the game and when I beat that game. Kingdom Hearts 1 makes me emotional. The music on it, especially, again, Yoko Shimomura, the Queen, composer of Super Mario RPG, Street Fighter 2, Kingdom Hearts. Lots of great music within Kingdom Hearts. And again, the story is so simple, and that's something I love so much about that game. There's like a love story with these kids that are still kind of coming of age. You just rescue the princesses and fight the bad guys. No weird extra bullshit. If I could make Roxas not exist, I fucking would. That's how I feel about it. I'm always saying that because Casey's a Roxas fan. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1. Love Kingdom Hearts 1. I don't have any of those feelings towards any of the other games in that series. But Kingdom Hearts 1 means so much. Did Shimomura did Final Fantasy 15? She might have. Final Fantasy 15 has a good soundtrack. Honestly, I'd say Final Fantasy 13 also has a really good soundtrack. That's one of the few things that Final Fantasy 13 has going for it is the music, and it's actually pretty good. But she might have. I'm not sure. The credentials I always remember are Mario RPG, Street Fighter 2, and Kingdom Hearts 1. Well, and Kingdom Hearts in general. She composed a bunch for Kingdom Hearts 2 and probably more. The dearly beloved rendition in Kingdom Hearts 2 is such a great song too. Tetris Party. I just play a lot of Tetris. I really like Tetris. I'm really good at Tetris. I'm not making any news channel appearances for how good I am at Tetris. I'm not that good, but Tetris Party was the one. I played it on Wii, and I played it a lot. Even played online a little bit on that. But I know how much I like Tetris, and I know how easy it is for me to play 12 hours of Tetris a day and give myself hand problems. So I don't play Tetris like anymore because it's like I feel like a recovering alcoholic with that game because I know how bad it is for me when I really start to play that game. But I love it. I really love Tetris. And I love modern Tetris even more. A lot of people really like OG Tetris. I like modern Tetris even more. Even though I grew up on OG Tetris, I really like the modern Tetris system. I like how fast it is. I like the mechanics of it. And I have a lot of fun with it. Super Metroid. I actually replayed Super Metroid last year and then replayed it 4 more times. I had like a week where I beat it once every night. Because I listened to a podcast where they're talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, this game is dope. Let me play it on the Switch, and it's just on the Switch. It's hard to do some of the advanced techniques on the Switch for that game, but just because the Joy-Cons are not great for that kind of stuff. But that said, yeah, I played it, I'm like, man, yeah, I really like this game. It's short. It's like a short version of Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is if they really fleshed it out and made it a big game. Super Metroid is only like even if you don't know what to do, it's like a 6-hour game. If you do know what to do, it's like 2 hours long. And yeah, I just played it like once a night. I was watching people stream and just replaying Super Metroid. And it was nice to feel like I was having as much fun as I was there. You know, it's funny, I realized I haven't talked about the top 3 games on the list. I'll go back to them and talk about them last. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, the FromSoft game that I love. I think Elden Ring's pretty cool too, but I love Sekiro. Partially, I mean, I like the samurai thing. I like that the characters are like more character in that game. There's a lot more flesh to the story. You don't have to finish the game and then watch some fucking Scandinavian dude explain the entire series to you so that you know what happened, because Sekiro, they tell you most of the stuff that's happening with your character as it's happening. And yeah, Wolf is cool. You don't get to do the role-playing thing where you really get to choose your destiny of your character, but I think that's something that really sucks with Dark Souls games and Elden Ring, is the faceless avatar character has no personality, and you don't really make deep choices with them. Whereas Sekiro, you have Wolf. Wolf actually is, I mean, he's not super interesting, but he's a character that can bounce off of the others, and it's certainly more interesting than the blank avatars that you make in the other games. Also, there's no stamina meter, and there's a bunch of sword slinging, and yeah, it's real cool. Uncharted 4, again, it's I talked about it when I was placing it. It's a game I had so much fun playing. I didn't expect like so many sequences just to feel like a blast. You have such refined movement. It's like the best things in Uncharted 2 and 3 got mixed into making Uncharted 4, and then they gave you a grappling hook on top of that. All of those things are fun. All of those things are cool. Gunplay is still great, and it's not too hard. There's the only thing that's ever stopped me from replaying it is there's a weird open world segment where you get a Jeep, and it's not particularly intuitive or fun, and it takes longer than it should. But aside from that, everything else is a very cool, very fun experience. After that, Super Mario World. This used to be a top 5 game of all time for me. I guess I just play more platformers and play more other games so much now that Super Mario World drops down. I don't have as much fun when I reboot it and play it anymore, but I also know the game pretty deeply and pretty in and out. There's all those Kaizo ROM hacks that I could consider, or I'd rather honestly play non-Kaizo ROM hacks, just ones that are remixed fun stages, just because I love the physics of that game so much and I'm so used to them. But yeah, Super Mario World, really great game that's meant a lot to me my whole life. The King of Iron Fist Tournament, Tekken 7. 941 knows what's up. This one's my favorite Tekken. I think it's one of the best fighting games ever made. They really cleaned up all of the Tekken 3 through 6. They took the systems and made them easier to learn and understand. They put a bunch of stuff that made it easy to kind of grasp and manipulate things. There's still a lot of complexity. Tekken is still a crazy legacy game where if you're good at Tekken 4, you'd probably be good at Tekken 7. But they made 7 so accessible. And with the exception of the weird stuff in the story mode, like, the story is pretty cool. At least the Kazuya Heihachi stuff. All of that is real sweet. Graphics. I really like the graphics of Tekken 7. I understand that they're a little bit dated, but I think people are harsher on Tekken 7 graphics than they really need to be. I think it's a cool looking game. It does its job. It's easy to understand what the characters, where their bodies are. But yeah, Tekken 7, real fun to play. Pretty much the only game aside from Melee that I ever considered about competing in any real regard. Never really jumped onto it, but it'd be a game that I would very much enjoy competing in. We got Warcraft 3 Raid of Chaos. In particular, the first one. I think the first one's campaign is more interesting. You don't play as much macro or micro missions in the original Reign of Chaos. And it's also one that I played so much. I played so much Warcraft 3 in high school, and my first year out of high school. I played that game so much. But yeah, RTS, the pacing of it is definitely slower than either of the StarCrafts, and I'm not that great at the competitive level of things with Warcraft 3, but it's just an awesome game that I think brought to life a lot of ideas that I would have liked to have seen from StarCraft 1 and Warcraft 2, where they've really fleshed out the world of it and was cool to explore maps and kill creeps and make buildings. And there's all those custom maps as well that I spent a lot of time either making or playing. Lots of really fun ideas within it. Look how high Ass Libra Revision is, 21. Good for Ass Libra Revision. I didn't get to stream this. I probably should have, and I might still in the future replay it and stream it. It's a Castlevania-like almost. The gameplay is Castlevania-esque, like Symphony of the Night-esque, but the story has this cool, very anime-heavy leaning story, but with really great ideas tuned in with time travel. Let's see, only the second time travel game on here, I think. Oh, no, Outer Wilds, I guess. So 3 time travel games on this list. Yeah, Ass Libra Revision, the action was fun. Learning the spells are cool. There's a bunch of real tough bosses in it, and the way the characters talk to you and react to you are great. I think there's a little bit of a dropped, like the ending doesn't know when to end. There's like 3 endings to that game, and none of them feel super comfortable, but aside from that, the ending, the whole game is great, very playable. You feel like you're advancing and improving quite a bit in it, and the story for you going in and thinking this game is going to be like super mediocre, the story is really interesting. You get really entwined in like the characters' fates and the time effects and stuff. Streets of Rage 4, let's go. We'll go through these pretty fast. Streets of Rage 4, it takes all of the cool stuff of a Streets of Rage beat 'em up, modernizes all of them, and makes it cool as hell. You can do crazy combos. There's so many characters to choose from, especially if you have the DLC. The combat is great if you're fighting against bosses, if you're fighting against just a bunch of random mobs. It feels really slick. All of the characters none of the characters feel foreign, but all of them feel unique. It's great that every character has but yeah, Streets of Rage 4, perfect beat 'em up. And you can turn the soundtrack to play the retro music, so you can get that Yuzo Koshiro goodness, baby. Nuclear Throne, my first roguelike that I got real serious about. I had Binding of Isaac, and I played, my 200 hours, 300 hours of that game to get platinum. But Nuclear Throne is a lot more pure in its roguelikeness. There's not a whole lot of meta development. Your characters always kind of start with the same thing, and the game is tough and it's difficult, but fun and fast paced. I think the pacing is the big thing. That's the reason I don't like Binding of Isaac, is the pacing is so slow, and there's so much fucking items in that game that it gets pretty tiring. But Nuclear Throne, crazy fast pacing. The better you are, the faster you can play. Much like with Hades, when you get real strong and good, your mechanics will let you carry through stages. Yeah, if you miss them, the honorable mentions were Undertale, StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, Dynasty Warriors 8, Extreme Legends Complete, Dragon Age Origins, and Hollow Knight were the ones that just barely missed the list. Super Smash Bros. Melee, I dedicated about 15 years of my life to that game from when I was 18. I guess maybe not 15 years, 18 to 28. 10 years, a decade of my life, I want to say. Yeah, so about a decade of my life I spent playing Super Smash Bros., either Brawl or Melee. One of those years was Brawl, and then I switched to Melee and played Melee. Pretty much from 2009 onwards. And kind of stopped playing in 2017. But just such a mechanically great competitive game. The community meant so much to me, as such a formative thing in my life. You hear a lot of things about people online complaining about the Smash community, but for the most part, the people online that complain about the Smash community are complaining about the online Smash community, and not so much the people in person, with the exception of a handful of pedophiles who predominantly at least played Smash Brothers 4 and Ultimate, not Melee. But the in-person community was so great. I was happy to be, for the most part, positive influence on my local community, despite sometimes kind of being kind of a butthead about the series. But genuinely, I really enjoyed making friends, building people up, and seeing people improve. My entire point of my crew in Super Smash Bros. Melee was to grab people that I saw a lot of potential in. One of them was Edge, but I always liked that guy, so it's like Edge was already good, but Chard, we knew he was going to get good, but also the Mole and Evan, who weren't power ranked, but shortly after, and it's not because they joined my crew, it might be part of it because we played together more, but shortly after joining my crew, they were pretty consistently power ranked players, because I knew that they had this potential, and it was great to see upcoming kids and talent. But yeah, Melee, the most important game in my life, for sure. Not my favorite, but definitely the most important. Hades, it's hella good, man. I've forced pretty much all of my friends to play it. I've bought it from many of my friends. It's Supergiant Games, which is my favorite game studio. They took basically the idea of Bastion's gameplay, turned it up to 11, and then turned it into a roguelike. And so they took my favorite genre and one of my favorite games and just kind of mushed them. And because it's Supergiant, they put out a very refined, very good product that is very action-packed. It's paced super crazy fast in a way that's rewards you for getting good and reward you for learning how to press those buttons. And it feels good to press buttons good and get paid off for it. And Hades does that. And then, I guess lastly, Chrono Trigger. My very first JRPG happened to be one of the greatest ones ever made. I ended up getting it as a gift from a family friend. He let me borrow it, and I liked it so much that he's just like, just keep it. And I still have that cartridge. It's still sitting on my shelf right next to me. And I've also purchased it on Steam. I've purchased it on PlayStation 1. I've purchased it 3 times on the DS. One of them I gave as a gift. So I have multiple copies of Chrono Trigger. And I'm always so pleased when I play it. The music is fantastic. It has this innocent charm while also maintaining a serious story. It has character design by, as we saw with the anime, Akira Toriyama, who made Dragon Ball. So the characters look like fucking Dragon Ball characters. The story is great. The visuals are great. The character design is good, is amazing. There's so much unique characters. You have a frog, a robot, a cave woman. You have the 3 present day characters that are all like very unique. Like you don't ever see Marley and Luca and think they're the same character. They look so different. And then you have like Chrono and Magus, and like none of the characters are. You don't mix up any of those characters. They're very unique, very cool. All have elements that are tied with them and unique traits that go with them too. Yeah, I mean Chrono Trigger's Chrono Trigger. I wish I could make everyone play that and Outer Wilds. That, Outer Wilds, and Hades. If I can make people play 3 games, those are the 3. Is Chrono Trigger, Hades, and Outer Wilds. And I have so much belief in those games just being so well made that I think anyone can appreciate them. And then on just a more personal level, Chrono Trigger just means a lot to me. Like I said, replaying it is always just a really good time. And that's another one where if I could replay it without knowing what happened again, without knowing the game's story, it would be very enjoyable. Like the first time you go through the time machine and don't realize that you went through a time machine, that's pretty awesome.